live with it. Let's welcome Nisa to the stage.
Okay, finally, it's time to go to bed after a really long night. I'm so exhausted. Wait. Did I check if the gas was switched off? Let me just check once. Gas is off, gas is off, gas is off. Wait. Did I check it properly? Because if I didn't, there could be a fire. And then that would all be my fault. I need to check again. Imagine doing this 20 times every single night. You're exhausted, you're tired, you really need to sleep, but you can't unless this is done. This is a conversation inside my head every night before going to bed. Yes, every night. About a year and a half ago, I noticed that things started changing. From being someone who'd study for more than 12 hours a day to all of a sudden not being able to focus even for a few minutes, something was seriously very wrong. I became so obsessed with some very specific things that even I couldn't explain completely. And these obsessions were causing an intense level of anxiety. I felt forced to perform some rituals or compulsions to get rid of this anxiety. For example, I couldn't study because every second I kept ruminating about what if I said this, what if I did that, I have to go back and check. I'd hear about something completely unrelated happening in the news and spiral into anxiety. What if somehow that was my fault? What if I did it somehow, even though that was not possible? And this started happening all the time. It felt like there was absolutely no other option other than going back and checking, tracing every action to ensure that I didn't do anything wrong. Eventually, these obsessions took complete control. I couldn't focus on studies, hobbies, I couldn't eat, sleep, and it felt like I had lost a lot. I genuinely thought I was going crazy because every time I'd get over one obsession, a new one would come up. But at this point in my life, it was my parents' support that made all the difference. I went to a psychiatrist and got formally diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, about a year ago. OCD is a psychological disorder that is caused due to a chemical imbalance in the brain. It is a mental health condition that causes people to experience unwanted intrusive thoughts, which are obsessions, that cause a lot of anxiety, and repetitive behaviors, compulsions, that they can't control. These obsessions cause a really intense level of anxiety in the mind of a person with OCD. It is honestly unimaginable. I assure you one thing, OCD is not a choice. Only a person with OCD would ever understand what it is to deal with every single day. It is exhausting and it is debilitating because there are so many everyday things that we struggle with. It is really not about keeping things neat, clean, or organized at all. There are people with contamination OCD who wash their hands till they actually bleed. There are people with harm OCD who constantly live in the fear that they're going to harm someone they love, even though they never actually do that. It can be very severe and the themes can keep shifting as well, like they did for me. Today in the train, I have to ensure that I have checked my seat 6 times specifically, because if I don't, I'll leave something extremely important behind, I won't get it back, and my entire life will be ruined. Irrational, isn't it? But it is my thought process. I can't submit an answer sheet during exam unless checking each side of the paper 6 times, because what if I wrote the wrong question number? What if I wrote the wrong answer? I have to check again. So imagine having to finish your paper 30 minutes in advance only because of this. Imagine waking up hours earlier to get to college. Imagine not being able to trust your own memories. Sometimes I face these sudden panic attacks where the intrusive thoughts, fears, they would just rush through my mind altogether. Anxiety would be at its peak. My hands would begin to tremble, heart would race. It's like being in a really fast car. You're terrified, but you're not the driver, so you can't control the speed. There was a period where I couldn't call people on the phone. because I was scared that I'm going to say something bad now. So the solution was, according to me, to lock myself up in the room and not talk to people. Imagine constantly being scared of things that other people don't even think twice about. Imagine doing something and instantly starting to doubt it every day. Which is why I say that having OCD is like having a demon in your head. It's constantly telling you what to do, constantly making you perform compulsions, even though you genuinely don't want to. But the fears that it shows you, they're very vivid and they feel very, very real. So, did I defeat the demon? Well, OCD is not something that can be cured, but treatment can help manage it. I went to a psychiatrist, got on a treatment plan with medications and everything, and I've learned to control the compulsions to a much better extent today. Resisting them was very hard initially, and I haven't perfected it yet, but I'm getting much better at it now. This experience taught me that no matter what you're going through in life, no matter how dark it may seem, no matter how impossible it may seem, you will be okay, you will survive. Because from being in a position where my thoughts had complete control over me, where I couldn't do anything on my own, to being here today and talking about it openly, it is a huge transformation and an amazing journey. About what OCD actually is. It is not a trait, it is not an adjective, it is a disorder, and people don't choose to have OCD. It is very debilitating. Those sudden panic attacks, they still happen today, sometimes during the worst of situations, during social situations, during lectures, or even during exams. But I decided that I cannot let this control me forever. This cannot go on like this. I'm very grateful to have parents who recognized that I needed help. They ensured that I got the required help at the right time. It was only because of them that I was able to get my life back on track. People with OCD, anxiety disorders, are sometimes called weak. I want you to know that you're not weak at all, because it is so hard to keep fighting when your mind is working against you. Your mind, which should ideally be your best friend, is like your worst enemy, but you still do. And which is why you are superheroes. People really need to know more about the major depressive symptoms that come with OCD, the ruckus that it can create in people's lives, and we should really not be scared to talk about it openly, because that's the only way you can get help. If there is no stigma in going to a doctor or getting help for any physical ailment, then why such stigma for mental illness? Is your brain not a part of your body? Let me leave you with this. Seeking help is not a sign of weakness, rather a sign of strength. Thank you.